Welcome, everybody, and get ready to experience the future of lead generation. This is our introduction to LeadStar, powered by EnrollHere. My name is Bill DeCourcy, and I'm the founder of LeadStar and the Chief Lead Generation Officer at AmeriLife. Today, I'm joined by an all-star panel of lead generation, technology, and sales experts, including Megan Guido, AmeriLife's new Director of Performance Marketing, who will be taking us through a platform overview. We're also joined by Vlad from EnrollHere, who will be conducting a complete product demonstration, followed shortly by a comprehensive sales training session led by three of the very best: Robert Medicare Bob Beisch, Brian Lubin, and David Manaya, all members of AmeriLife's distribution team. For those of you who are joining us live, please note that this session is being recorded for future distribution, and audience members' audio and video capabilities have been turned off. Please submit your questions using the Q&A function in Zoom, and we will be sure to get to those between segments and at the end. Now it is time to learn how you can start receiving better leads at better prices with better results through LeadStar, powered by EnrollHere. Megan, please show everybody what this partnership has built.
Thank you, Bill. Since LeadStar was created, our main partner has been you guys. The agents that utilize our system have influenced and informed every single decision we make when it comes to LeadStar. We've been learning from you guys since 2022 what makes a lead distribution platform great, and we've recently partnered with EnrollHere to bring those insights into action. We've been working with them to build a proprietary, custom leads platform with the main goal of boosting agents' performance, all while keeping your specific needs in mind. With EnrollHere's industry-leading team and our customer and market knowledge, I think we have created something that you guys are going to be really excited about. So let's get into the enhancements. First, we're going to go over our complete dialer solution. This advanced routing system drives greater efficiency, lowers CPAs, and intelligently matches consumers to the right agents, resulting in a higher quality experience for not only you, but your clients as well. We support both inbound and outbound dial capabilities with on-demand lead delivery, all while recording and storing your calls to give you a full picture of the sales cycle without having to juggle multiple different systems at once. This is a feature we half offered on LeadStar Marketplace, but we only covered inbound calls. With tracking on both inbound and outbound, the user experience will be much smoother. You will now be able to work your entire sales cycle with each lead in the same system you purchase them from. We also have updated our dispositions to allow for better organization from the agent's perspective, while also giving our team deeper visibility into lead outcomes for better performance management. Accurate disposition reports are super important for us to make sure that agents get the best leads possible, or else we're kind of operating in the dark. With full sales tracking and optimized dispositions, we will be able to make much more data-driven decisions based on every single sales conversation on our platform. This dialer employs smart routing technology to deliver the best calls, the best appointments, and the best leads possible based off your own preferences and sales history. We will use your own data to match you with a consumer we think you will have the highest probability of closing based on what you are telling us about the sales that you make. Not only does smart routing technology affect lead quality, but also lead delivery. We will now match calls to agents that have been waiting the longest first to ensure we are lowering our call time latency. Users on EnrollHere's call center system currently are waiting on average less than 5 minutes between calls, and for Medicare specifically, only seconds between connected calls. This is a true testament to how well this technology works, especially considering we are in the rest of year period where there are less clients to go around in the first place. Just be sure to choose 3 or more queues at once to see this quick connectivity. Now, I'm sure many of you have experienced a consumer-initiated inbound call routing to you after you have already paid for this client as a lead in the past. This is definitely frustrating, but we can never turn down a beneficiary requesting assistance and had no control on our old system of which agent should get that lead that has already dialed into our system once before. Now, with our smart routing technology, if a lead calls back into our system within 30 days of the initial touch point, we will automatically route that call back to the original purchasing agent to make sure they are exclusively yours and no other agent can override your business. This is a huge win and will help to extend the lifetime value of every call you take through our system. So that is our complete dialer solution, and we will see more of this during our live demonstration. Next, we have AI compliance monitoring. Now, this is a super cool one. The system uses AI technology to review, score, and report on how well you handle every single sales call you make based on CMS and TCPA state and federal level regulations, making sure you are up to date with the newest regs and implementing them appropriately. In real time, you will receive an overall score out of 100% and then categorical breakdowns of what made up that score, including call opening, reading required disclosures, SOA accuracy, proper eligibility verification, and more. And it will not just tell you what you did wrong, but the system will give training and advice if you are consistently missing something per category. Compliance can be super overwhelming, even for a seasoned agent, so this is a great tool to not only monitor compliance, but improve upon it where needed. These reports are also available at the management level to operate and scale businesses with avoiding and correcting non-compliant practices before they snowball into something you cannot recover from. Next, we have our Smart Wallet system. Smart Wallets help to give agencies full control over their marketing budgets, allowing for fund distribution by carrier, lead type, and performance with complete transparency into spending and ROI down to each individual click, call, and appointment that you make. Agency leaders can now allocate funds with dynamic capping limits by agent performance or purchases to be sure funds are being utilized to their fullest potential. With this advanced control from the management level, agents will now have the opportunity to reap the benefits of high performance and hard work more than ever before, with features that allow for more funding distribution if you are hitting your sales goals. There is also the capability to run multiple wallets at once for funding distribution changes, as well as special promotional opportunities. Management will now have the option to run special discounts off of leads for the agents of their choice. This funding accessibility and optionality should drive agents to perform at the top of their game at all times to be included in these funding enhancements. The possibilities are really endless with smart wallets, and they are designed to make sure you are getting the most out of every single dollar that you spend. Now, all of this would not have much meaning if we did not make everything measurable. So every single action on this platform has real-time tracking and reporting baked into both the agent and agency level views. You are now able to monitor performance as it happens, empowering you to act quickly on any issues that may occur on a day-to-day basis to drive down CPAs. So you will no longer have to wait for a next day refresh of data or wait for my team to grab it for you, although we will absolutely still do that. It will be available in platform as it happens. And specifically, from the agency management side, you are now able to view more real-time activity than ever before. Agents' account activity will now refresh in real time to show you info such as when they are actively waiting for a call, how long they've been waiting, how many calls they took, what their outcomes are, and more. It really gives you that true call center management experience without physically being in a call center. This real-time data is crucial to success on our platform, and we're excited to now be able to provide this to you. Now we have preferred pricing. This might be everyone's favorite.
I think so.
AmeriLife's national scale, partnered with EnrollHere's buyer network, has allowed us to negotiate with top vendors to drive down the cost per lead on every single call campaign offered on LeadStar Powered by EnrollHere. To be specific, we are now offering discounts up to 64% off previous pricing and granting you access to a competitively priced, curated lead catalog only available on LeadStar Powered by EnrollHere. Now, let's get into our campaign list. We are launching with 9 exclusive lead campaigns curated from top vendors in the industry and extreme price discounts as indicated in the green text beside each campaign. These prices you see are all averages because within each of these campaigns will be vendor-specific cues that you have complete control over. You will now be able to curate your own supply based off your personal performance data available in the platform and leave vendors not working for you out of your campaign. This will ensure that you're only getting leads that are working for you personally and hold vendors accountable, as they will only be able to supply leads if you guys are consistently pleased with them. Each of these cues will have a description of how it's generated, what you should expect, and example advertisements before you join so you know exactly what you are getting, allowing you to best prepare and make informed decisions about your lead supply. Now let's get into what these campaigns mean. We are offering 3 different call types across Medicare, ACA, and final expense. First, we have inbound calls. These are generated by a consumer going online, seeing an advertisement related to your preferred insurance vertical, and getting connected straight to you with no middleman. You'll be connected directly to the consumer and be the first person to speak to them about their request. We also have inbound transfers. These are generated in the same way I previously described, but instead of getting connected directly to you, they will first speak with one of our partner call centers to get qualified, and then warm transferred with an introduction to you to begin your sales process. Lastly, for calls, we have outbound transfers that are generated from our call center outbound dialing to a consumer who has requested to be contacted, qualifying them and warm transferring them over to you for assistance. Now, before we move on to appointments, I do want to highlight an enhancement we've made to our Medicare inbound transfer calls. We will now run every single consumer-generated call through one single onshore call center to make sure our transfers are as consistent and high quality as possible. Pushing for this consistency across each call will provide you with a much more predictable client so you can best prepare for success. Having one singular point of transfer with a close partner also allows us for more efficient compliance auditing and performance management, so we are only delivering agents the best converting clients possible. Now, our Medicare appointments. These are generated from a consumer-initiated inbound call to our partner call center, qualified for eligibility, and then booked to your calendar based on your own availability. Proprietary AI technology is used to filter the best lead for you based upon your own account history, and is also used to streamline your driving route to ensure you're not wasting time in the car when you could be closing additional sales. Now, the main goal will be to book the appointments, but we have this smart routing technology built to filter the leads whenever possible. You may also notice that data leads are not listed here. We will be launching with an extended list of data leads, including Medicare one-to-one exclusive leads, which is super exciting, on September 2nd. So keep on the lookout for communications for more information on this release. Now, for users that had an account on our previous system, we have returned all credit card funds that remained in your balance to the original payment method, which can take up to 5 to 10 business days to process. We have also created an account on your behalf in the new platform to make sure you do not lose any lead details or recordings associated with your previous account. On Monday, August 4th, all you will do is log into the new system using the email associated with your old account, and you will receive an email to log in. From there, everything will be preloaded for you. If you have never had an account with us before, just go to login.leadstarhub.com the morning of August 4th to create a brand new account. And that is it for the overview of our top platform features. I'm so excited for Monday so all of you guys can start experiencing the power of LeadStar powered by EnrollHere.
Thank you very much, Megan. I appreciate that comprehensive overview. A couple of questions came in while you were speaking. First of all, Stephen, thank you for your excitement and encouragement. We appreciate that very much. There was a question asked about what type of leads. Megan, you were able to cover that with our comprehensive catalog, including the coming soon data leads. Timothy asks, will this rerouting cost extra? No, it's built into the platform. That will be an automatic feature. And then Brian asked, why can't call routing be forever instead of 30 days? I was actually discussing this with one of our partners at EnrollHere earlier today. And we can change it to whatever time we want, but we saw that there was just such little activity taking place out of that 30-day window that it really wouldn't accomplish a lot. That the main period is that first 30 days when you want to make sure you're recapturing that. But of course, we'll continue to examine the data. And if we find additional activity beyond that, we'll adjust the period accordingly. I think we're going to do a live demo now, right?
Yep, we'll go ahead and pass it off to Vlad for the live demonstration of the agent experience.
Thank you, Megan and Bill, for that warm welcome. And thank you, everyone, for taking the time to actually join us and take a look at this new exciting product that we have developed. I'm excited to take you guys through LeadStar Powered by EnrollHere. This is a platform that has been built to help your operations run leaner, smarter, and with more precision. LeadStar blends an operational discipline, data-driven intelligence, and seamless workflows. It doesn't just manage leads, it optimizes every stage of your funnel. As Megan has mentioned before, all of your accounts have been pre-populated and have been carried over. If you do not have an account, please follow the instructions that are provided before to get signed up. And once you guys are able to have your account created, you will then be able to actually go to LeadStar Powered by EnrollHere and enter your email and receive an email sign-on link. So as you can see here, we have entered our email. We will receive an email confirmation to log in, and it will prompt us to start our initial profile setup. We will enter our first name, our last name, our NPN, and our personal telephone number. Once we have entered the following details, we will then be able to actually claim a direct LeadStar number. This is going to be your number that you will be able to provide to your beneficiaries or consumers, how they will be able to get in touch with you. You can choose a local state number, or you can have access to any amount of toll-free numbers available. So we will search here. We will have a bunch of different options that we'll be able to select from. Let's select our 844-476-0931 number. Once we have claimed this number, this is now going to be our direct point of contact and the number that we'll be able to give out to the consumers to get in touch with us. You will also be prompted to actually set up a forwarding. You can either do this to transfer to your personal number or to a voicemail. One really cool feature that we have that was mentioned is the fact that if you are transferring your phone number to your direct line, once a consumer dials your LeadStar DID, it will go through the system and actually start recording the phone call, even though you're taking it on your personal line. This ensures compliance, and you guys will have a complete record of everything that has happened, all the interactions between you and the consumer. Once we have set up the number forwarding, we will then be prompted to put our states. This is where you will be able to select the states where you would like to take your calls based on your license. If you have a life license, you will add your life states. If you have a health license, you will be able to add your Medicare states. Once we have added all of our states and have populated as necessary, please only enter the states that you are willing to take calls from based on your license type, because this is what will be used for routing. Once we have selected our states and have completed our profile with the licensing and the number forwarding, we will then be prompted to actually select initial queues where we can take some calls. You have a couple different ways that you can filter the marketplace. You can have raw calls, screen calls, by product type, and by language. Let's take a look at our Medicare calls. We will have access to a lot of different Medicare calls, and different campaigns have been carefully curated for you guys. And it is as simple as just clicking on the join queue button and being able to actually start able to take calls. When we do go live on August 4th, you guys will have access to a little bit more information than what you're currently seeing here. You will see a call description. So you will see what kind of traffic is being run on this campaign. And you will also have access to all the marketing assets associated with this queue. You will be able to see the cost per lead, and you will also be able to cap the queue yourself. So as if you only want to take 10, 15 calls from this queue, you could set that cap yourself. Whatever which way that you would like to actually operate, it is all at your fingertips. Once we have joined the queue, we will then be able to actually preload our wallets. There's a couple different options to fund your account. You could do a custom amount or select from one of the pre-populated options. Once we have selected this, you will then be prompted to add your credit card and pay for your wallet. And that summarizes the initial part of actually creating our account. Once you have done that, you will then be prompted to fully complete your profile. And as Megan mentioned before, we do like to gather a little bit more information about you as the agent so that we can actually help you guys match with leads with relevant backgrounds, making conversations and building that rapport a little bit easier and a little bit more organic. So we will now request you guys to tell us a little about yourself. Which city do you currently live? What is your hometown? Your date of birth? Any languages that you might speak, your status. You guys have a few different options that you'll be able to select. And once you have completed that, it is as simple as just setting your status to go live. This is the view that everyone will have access to. You will be able to see your total stats, how many hours you've been logged in, your talk time, your wait time, and your pause time. If we want to start taking calls, we will go in the top right over here and change our status to go available. Once we go available, we will now be able to receive calls from all the queues that we have currently selected from the marketplace. You guys will have access to a form to basically enrich all the leads, and a AmeriLife approved script at your fingertip will always be available. You guys will be able to follow this script throughout your whole sales process and enrich the data from your lead, collecting information such as first name, last name, date of birth, and their address, so on and so forth. Once you guys have been able to close a sale or the call has ended, we will then be able to click leave the call, and we will be brought into our custom disposition report where you guys will be able to actually select what exactly transpired on this call. Let's say in this demonstration, we have submitted an application, and it is as simple as clicking on the application submitted, save and go available, and then that conducts the call, and then you can go available once more and keep taking calls as much as you want. What I really want to highlight is the view that you guys currently have access to. You guys will have access to your compliance overview from an agent perspective, as well as your live performance of how you guys are doing with the calls. You will see your CPA in real time. So the days of, waiting for all the reports, getting all the billable volume, and then calculating your CPA at the end of the day after everything's been done are over. You guys have access to all this data in real time. You will also notice that there is a tab right here, Open Academy. This will give you guys access to the EnrollHere Compliance Academy, which will show you all of the different scoring and how we score you guys on compliance. Now, to get into a little bit more detail about all the different features that you guys have access to, we'll start off with the agent performance tab. Everything that you're seeing here is from the agent point of view. For agency leaders, you guys will have access to this view as well, but in a broader sense to manage your agency and your teams. So here in the agent performance tab, we'll have a broad overview of exactly what is going on with our team or our agency or just in our own personal account, where we will see how many hours we've been logged in, the total talk time, wait time, pause time, how many calls we've taken, how many of them were billable, how many of them were sales, and if we did any transfers. You have this view on your dashboard, but you have a little bit more information, and you will be able to filter this based on the different callback periods as you see fit. The next thing that we have is the call log. Inside the call log, you guys will have access to able to see all the different calls that you've taken, the disposition reports, and any notes that you have had. So if you go in here, you'll have access to the recording, the lead details, and then the unique compliance summary of everything that has transpired on this call. You will also see the payments and all the adjustments here. And then for the really interesting part, the compliance dashboard. This is what Megan has mentioned. You guys will have oversight of exactly what categories you're missing in terms of compliance. If you're not collecting the scope, if you're not getting consent for enrollment, all of these things, you will have this at your fingertip, and you will be able to see how you're performing and be a lot more aware on the compliance aspect of how you handle calls. This will show all of the history from all the successful dispositions. We also do store every single call for 10 years for compliance purposes. This kind of eliminates this whole headache or logistical nightmare of you guys having to deal and storing your recordings. We also have appointments tab, where if you do schedule the call back, which there is a window inside the call preview, if you choose to, you can get connected to a beneficiary and they say like, hey, I have to call back. You will able to actually select a time to actually schedule an appointment with them for a callback, and it links directly to your calendar. So let's say in this instance, we had a appointment that we wanted to have with Javier. We can actually disposition this appointment. We can also go and edit any notes and any information associated with this appointment as well. This works for both telephone appointments and in-person appointments, which I will go further into to a little bit more detail a little bit later. Going through the Q marketplace as well. So you will have access to this marketplace whenever it is not just when you're initially creating your account. Let's say you started off with just Medicare calls, but then you also have your life license and you want to see how you want to take some life leads as well. You guys will have access to this marketplace at all times. So don't be alarmed if you only selected 2 to 3 queues when you initially created your account. You guys will be able to access this in this tab right here, queues, and join just as simply as you did in the beginning. Let's say we wanted to join our MA Digital Inbounds campaign 2. We just go through the same process where we get all that information. And as I mentioned before, when we do go live on August 4th, you guys will have a lot more detail associated to these queues. You will see the description of the call type, how the traffic is generated, and access to all the marketing assets as well. Then we can take a look at our campaigns tab. Inside the campaigns tab, you guys will be able to, this is more directly associated with the data leads, where you guys will be able to upload a lead list and actually then do preview dialing and follow through this list using the data leads that will be provided going live on September 2nd. And just we kind of went a little too quick there, but in the campaign here, you will see all the information where you could add the script, the disposition status will be set up, and you can name this however you would like, whatever the data leads might look like. In the lead settings as well, we will see the primary lead order, least recently called leads will show up first, and you guys have a few different customization options to actually see how we go through this lead list. And in the final tab where we want to really highlight a few different things is this is going to be your agent overview. As an agency operator or leader, team leader, whatever that might look like, you will have access to all your team members' information. You will be able to see all their states and everything like that and all their numbers associated with them. You guys will also be able to actually configure your account spendings. So as Megan has mentioned before with the smart wallet functionality, as a team leader or an operator, you guys have the ability to actually customize the amount of subsidizing or reducing the lead costs for your agents based on different merits. You can assign inside the smart wallet, let's say a weekly allowance or a daily allowance for your top performing agents or for any agents specifically based on different criteria. Maybe you want to subsidize or reduce the lead costs for agents on Friday after 6 p.m. You guys have for Medicare, you guys have complete control over that. If there is an opportunity where you want to score them based on their compliance and the agents who are hitting the high compliance scores, you want to give them 40% off of their leads by throughout their allowance. You have the ability to do that. It is very highly customizable. And honestly, the sky's the limit when it comes to how you want to operate for your team and how you want to help your agents. This is not a tool just for agents and operators. It's a symbiotic relationship where both parties work together and you guys have a lot of control and oversight of everything that is going on. But even further, which I'm sure a lot of you are very excited about, is the appointment setting. You will be able to actually set up your field appointment settings, your availability. So if you want to take appointments from Monday to Friday from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., you would set this availability. You will put your buffer time, so the minutes between different appointments, and then enter your zip codes of where you would actually like to take your appointments and how many weekly appointments you would like. This is a desired number of appointments per week that will be used to actually calculate and see the availability. You guys will also be able to actually link this to your calendar. So when we do go live, this will be able to link directly to your calendar and it will be blocking off those times and giving you guys reminders for when you have appointments. And as I mentioned before, everything that you're seeing in front of you here is from the agent side view. So when you log in and you start taking calls, this is what you will see. Agency operators or leaders will have all of this information as well from the agency perspective, being able to actually manage their agents in real time and see all the data in real time as well. And just like that, hopefully this has been a very exciting overview for everything that's to come for you guys. And I would like to pass it back to Bill and Megan.
Thank you very much, Vlad. We appreciate that overview very much. We have a ton of questions. We've got over 50 questions that have been submitted just during the first part of this webinar. We're going to take a couple of them here, starting at the bottom and moving up, and then we're going to organize them a little better while we're going through the training session with Bobby and David and Brian to see if we can't cover them all. Understand if we aren't able to get to all of them, we will be sending out an FAQ as well as all relevant links after the webinar. So the bottom question right now is there capability to integrate with a Zoom or Google Meet? So I believe that would have to be done after the fact, after the appointment was set. You'd have to set that up separately at this stage in our development with the beneficiary. Is that correct, Megan?
That is correct. You will be able to mark your calendar with the appointment, but it wouldn't at this time be able to integrate with Zoom or Google Meets automatically. Although I do think that's a very interesting thing for us to keep in mind as we continue to optimize the platform.
Like Megan said, you really have been our feedback loop throughout all of this. And I think that that's an excellent feature for us to consider for the future roadmap. Can we pause our availability temporarily, or do we have to change it on our stated schedule? That sounds like an appointments question.
Yes, I would agree. And you do have a place in your agent settings to customize your appointment availability. Let's say if you did want to leave your campaign running 24/7, but we will also have a place for you on the appointments tab specifically where you'll be able to toggle your activity on and off as you were able to do on our previous platform.
I'm trying to pick questions here that are also representative of multiple questions being asked. One that sticks out to me is, can agency leaders, owners set up accounts for their downline agents? That's a terrific question. I believe the answer is absolutely.
Yes, for sure. So you'll be able to work with us if you want to create a downline team or a team in general on the platform, just reach out to us. We'll get that connected and we can send out invitations to all the agents that you want to include in your system. And we will also, hopefully this weekend, be uploading some videos to our YouTube channel explaining exactly how to do that. But again, our team will be here to help you as well.
Matthew asks, I have an EnrollHere account. Would they be combined or separate dialers?
So that's an interesting question and one that's we're still discussing. And I think the conclusion we came to is it's kind of up to you. We currently do have an account for you if you were in LeadStar and EnrollHere's system separately. You have two accounts. I'll have to reach out to LeadStar at leadstarhub.com separately so we can discuss because we do have the possibility to merge accounts. We'll just have to talk about it separately.
And last question before we kick it over to the sales team. Are we able to upload other leads, say from mailers, and dial them through LeadStar? That'd be a cool feature if we had that.
It is. We do have it right now. So on the lead list, you will be able to upload whatever you want to there, including a phone number, and you'll be able to use our dialer to preview dial all of those leads and circle through them, mark your dispositions, take any notes. It is a complete dialer solution and you can upload your own leads.
That's great news. A lot of new features to be highlighted here, but those features won't do anybody any good unless you approach the sales process in the right way. And I'm about to swing it over to three gentlemen who have absolutely set the bar as high as it can go when it comes to sales success, both over the phone and in person. So with that, I'd like to introduce the team next door. We have Robert, Medicare Bob Beisch. We've got David Manai from Senior Healthcare Direct and Brian Lubin, all three from the AmeriLife team. Take it away.
Thank you, Bill, and thank you everyone for joining us today. I could not be more excited about this platform. For those of you that don't know why us three are here, I'll give a brief introduction. So again, my name is Robert Beisch. I was the founder of Senior Healthcare Direct, Medicare Bob's office, and I joined AmeriLife through acquisition and partnership in 2020, and now I'm in an executive role here on the health team as a senior vice president. And I've got two of my best friends next to me who I brought on the gold rush of insurance. The first one is David Manaya. David now runs the agency Senior Healthcare Direct that I sold to AmeriLife. And the reason he's here is he's really helped perfect and work and partner with us in LeadStar on the sales process on the Medicare side. And him and his office do over 50,000 policies a year with the same exact leads and same exact sales process that he's happy to share with you. And Brian's here. For somebody that's been following LeadStar the last few years since its inception, Brian and I did some trainings throughout the process. I got Brian into the business 3 years ago, and his first experience is I told him he has to sell first before he runs an agency. And the first AEP a few years ago that LeadStar was created, Brian was the top producer at LeadStar for that AEP and OEP. And we did a lot of YouTube videos and follow-up videos with people at LeadStar trying to help people use the platform to grow their agency, which Brian did. And in fact, Brian actually sold his agency to AmeriLife a couple months ago and now works with me as a vice president on our health team. And so the reason we're here is we believe that, AmeriLife has a responsibility to provide agent tools and resources to help you succeed. That's our mission. And we find, in my experience, I find that agents really need two things in order to be successful. And the main thing is a plan and a sales process. So a financial plan to be successful and a sales process to achieve that success. And a lot of times I'll work with agents and, they try a lead platform and, well, how much should I invest? And these leads are sucky, or how do I do this? Or how do I do that? And a lot of times, you just got to commit to it, have a plan, follow that plan, and then have a sales process to achieve those goals. So today is going to be largely focused on the telesales side of Medicare. We'll be back in the next coming weeks, and we'll have some final expense experts and also in-home appointment experts. But I'd like to start with Brian, kind of helping us. You took LeadStar, and you leveraged that to first sell, and then have downline agents selling on the platform, and then you grew your distribution leveraging the platform. And that was LeadStar, the original LeadStar. Now you have more functionality and a lower price on the leads than we did before. So could you share with everyone maybe just what key terms you use and how you think about creating a plan?
Yeah, absolutely. So the next iteration of LeadStar that we're into now, powered by EnrollHere, is really leveraging so many of the lessons learned and getting up to speed with industry standards in a rapidly changing environment. LeadStar allowed me to compete with, let's say, Dave Manaya's size of an agency when they're taking leads. Being able to do that on a much smaller scale with independent agents and kind of be creative as we go. But some of the lessons that we learned along the way was really helping navigate how do we level set the key terms and business principles. So I'm going to focus more on the business components of this and the financial side. Dave will get really into the sales process as we walk through that. But we wanted to take a minute and just run through some of these key terms that are important for us as we start going through, because after this, I'm going to share an Excel file and we're going to share all these documents with everybody. LeadStar will post them for everyone to see. So one of the things that we start looking at is what is an issued policy, right? So we submit a policy, but they don't always get approved. And I'm sure everyone that's on the phone that has sold policies over the phone before, you realize that sometimes people change their minds. They answer the phone for somebody else. Those things move. So we focus on defining what an issued policy is with the carriers. We also look at things like accretion rate. Those are policies that stick on the books and stay with you for 90 days or longer. As an independent agent, we expect certain metrics to be different than maybe some of the metrics that we might talk about. The further iterations that you get away from your selling capacity, let's say you're an agency owner, you may have been the sales leader on the phone, but as you add more agents, you tend to have a slight drop off in some of these percentages. So keep that in mind. Like as an independent agent, we would expect your accretion rate to be higher than maybe somewhere that's a 100-person call center, just because your ability to be ingrained in managing those
So
components.
let's talk
there.
about that
Yeah.
just real quick, because you're smarter than me and smarter than a lot of people. So what he's saying is, so the reason we're going over these terms is there's an Excel file that we're going to help you, that LeadStar and us will provide to you to help you create a marketing plan. But, you know, a lot of times when you're starting a business, you got to know what inputs to do for your plan. And if you're running a marketing plan on just, I want to do 100 sales this annual enrollment, and you're thinking, okay, if I do 100 sales times my revenue, I'm going to make, minus my expenses, I'm going to make this amount of money.
Yep.
And I've seen this happen all the time. You know, you got to have a couple other key inputs. For example, you might submit 100 applications, 95 might issue because 5 people might have an error on their application, or somebody else might enroll them before the end of annual enrollment. So as you're building the, you know, we're going to show you this Excel template that we're going to provide. It's important that you understand these terms because you're going to put these KPIs in. So you might have, you know, 100 submitted and, you know, 95 get issued, but then after 90 days, you know, you might have 85 still on the books.
Yep.
And those are the ones that didn't get rapid disenrolled. And that's where you're building your book. And the last point I'll make, and you keep going, is what Brian is saying is, if you're an independent agent with this platform, which by the way, I wish I had 5 years ago. I tell my kids all the time, technology is reducing barriers of entry.
Yep.
When I was running digital campaigns, I had to run those campaigns. I had to performance manage the vendors. I had to have my compliance and I had to store the calls on hard drives. You know, everything is being done for you here at no seat fee, by the way, which is just remarkable. But just finishing this point, you know, if you're an individual agent, you're going to have you're going to have a better accretion rate, better issued policy. There's going to be less mistakes. As you go to hire your first 5 agents, you know, what you might have to adjust those numbers. And then you hire your next 5 agents, you might need to adjust those numbers, because when I got up to 150 agents selling insurance, they weren't as good at me at selling. They weren't as good as me as getting the policy issued. So I had to, as I'm building my marketing plan and my financial plan, I had to account for that. To what you said, the further you get away from me, the source of the owner, you know, you're probably going to have some dings there. So,
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
we're going to help you account for those.
Yeah, and these are really lessons learned. I learned these the hard way. As I started getting into the math and started watching what was getting paid and not, I learned a lot of these lessons the hard way as they go. And to Bob's point, you know, other folks and employees aren't going to care about these policies as much as you are. So you just keep those things in mind as you go. Another big one is as we start watching what's going on with the carriers and the markets and things moving, you got to be cautious of, complaints to Medicare, CTMs. You've got to be looking at these things. They're things that the carriers are watching. Great thing with this platform is there's built-in compliance after every call and you disposition it. It's scoring your calls, giving you feedback. It's an amazing add-on tool where even a few years ago, even a few months ago, you had to have staffs of people, or you had to be doing these things yourself. It's really a remarkable component that's been added onto the system on the back end.
And two things for that, David's sales process that's inside the platform is going to help you reduce those CTMs, but also the platform is going to help you beat the CTM, because if you get a CTM, you're going to get notified by your upline because the carrier notifies us, and you're literally going to be able to go into the platform, download the call, send it in, and it's scored and everything. And hopefully it gets to be unfounded as long as you did a good job.
Yeah, absolutely. And for those of you who are tech savvy and watching things that are going on with AI, a lot of this was built using AI. I encourage you to really take these documents, study this. There's really not an excuse that's left on not being able to do homework on these things. With power of AI in front of us, things like ChatGPT, you can discover as much detail as you could imagine on these within a few minutes, just typing some of this in there. So use some of these key terms to prompt your discovery of learning more about them. But some of the key terms that we're going to talk about today, cost per lead. Bill and Megan showed already the screen what the cost per leads are. You have a cost per sale. And we're going to talk about the distinction between a cost per sale and a cost per acquisition. There are important differences as you start figuring out how much money you spent to what you're actually being paid versus what you may have submitted and issued at those times. I think Bob will talk a little more about lifetime values, things that we're really focusing on there. One of the biggest things for me is really focusing on cash flow. A lot of conversations that we still have now around cash flow are we have folks that come and they say, I need money. How much is it going to cost to generate X amount of sales? Well, part of the Excel file that we're going to show is to help prompt you in that discovery for yourself to say, if I have $1,000, what should I be able to translate that into sale-wise, lead-wise, and at certain times of the year as we go. So when we look at cost per sale, that is purely the amount that you spent versus the number of sales that you closed. Again, to what Bob had mentioned, not everything you submit is going to issue or stay on the books a certain amount of time. And that's really where the cost per acquisition components come in here. There's a lot of variation to cost per acquisition, right? The total you spend versus the number of issued policies. We also track the number of accreted policies. And also we track the lifetime value component in there where you're looking at how many of those policies reach the renewal phase for you as you go there. Lifetime value, this is a big proponent that, Bob taught me a long time ago as you're looking at investing into now. You're making an investment now, but you're going to get future returns on what those policies are worth over time.
Yeah. What I have found over my experience is why I was able to scale a lot faster and a lot of agents and agency owners is a lot of people were focused on the cash flow side. And I was focused on the lifetime value. So if I'm going to spend, and actually this is a good segue. So the cash flow, which we're going to talk about. So if you could pull up the Excel file.
Sure.
So what I want to do today is I want to show you guys, if I go to Brian and I say, Brian, I'm an agent and I'm trying to figure out my marketing plan. And I want to I have $15,000 and I want to write 100 policies for that. How much is that going to cost me on cash flow? And how much money am I going to make in the short term? And how much am I going to make in the long run? So let's take AEP, for example. So I'm an agent and I want to write 100 policies. Can you walk me through and what's going to be how much cash flow am I going to need and how much money am I going to make?
Yeah, sure. So we're going to walk through variations between how many policies you submit versus a target number of policies you want to stay on the books over time. Everybody has a slightly different variable that they'd like to look at that, but I'll go over some of the key components here. So on the left side, we have the target number of accreted applications. On the right side is target number of submitted applications. The metrics work out similar, but everybody has a slightly different flavor they like to look at.
Let's go through submitted apps.
Yep. So we'll look at this.
Agent.
Yep.
Look, every agent has two commodities in ChatGPT just heard you, I think.
The AI is listening to us.
So you as an agent, you have two commodities. You have time or you have money. And if it's AEP and you're not spending one of those two things getting a policy, I don't know why you're in this business.
Yep.
So in between me doing my events, me hosting, me walking at my heart events or trying to help lower income seniors, I have time with I use my time for that. Now I want to invest money. So I'm coming to you and I want to have 100 applications and I have $15,000 to spend.
Yep.
Can you walk me through
Yeah,
that?
sure. So we'll walk through this here. So a couple of key components that we mentioned on the prior Word document. You've got to be watching what your issue rate and your accretion rate is. Those drive your metrics drastically. I know a lot of folks probably learned this lesson as we went before. Maybe we weren't tracking them as closely as we needed to. It was a personal lesson learned on myself. I think I got in the mindset of I was just cranking apps out, but I wasn't following up appropriately.
It's also realistic.
Wasn't working.
Sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah, go ahead.
But
No, you're not.
you got to be
That's
real. I'm not sorry at all. How the lead is generated is going to affect the accretion of your policy.
Yep.
Okay. If you are hosting a lunch on, in AEP and, you have 15 people come and you end up getting 5 sales out of that, and then that was an in-person sale, that policy is going to create at a very high rate. It's going to issue and accrete at a very high rate. Okay. If you generate what I was doing on Medicare Bob, where somebody watched a 45-minute video, did a preset appointment, talked to myself or one of my agents, and there's a brand loyalty there to me and my agency, that's going to most likely accrete at a very high rate.
Yep.
Right?
Absolutely.
If you purchase a direct mail lead, that's going to have a lower rate, right? Because you're going in, you're selling yourself, it's a contact. So when if you do an in-home appointment, they're more expensive, but we can do this exercise on cost per acquisition because believe it or not, sometimes a more expensive lead will give you a higher ROI than a cheaper lead. But for this exercise, I'm doing just inbound transfers.
Yep. Inbound
or
transfers.
calls.
Yep.
And I should expect that. What's a decent accretion rate if I'm by myself? Not an agency, but like by myself, or say I got 6 agents.
Yeah, I would say as you start looking at this, it depends on the time of year, but somewhere,
AEP,
yeah,
let's
I
focus
would
for-
say somewhere in that 60-70% range if you're taking inbound transfers as you go. So what we have in here is, let's say average street commission for what 2026 plans will look like. You have an issue rate of 70%. I'm going to play with this piece a little bit. Your accretion rate. So as we take 100 apps, 70 of them issued, and 60% of those lasted more than 90 days of the 70%. So what you net out of that is a total of 42 accreted sales. So we just want people to be understanding that we're looking at a lower end realistic scenario of what some folks might experience on here. The conversion rate. So during AEP, there's a wide range of conversion rates. You could be 15 to 25. If you're an independent agent and you're getting on the phones for the first time, your rate may be a little bit lower in the beginning, but we expect it to pick up quite a bit. Bob and Dave and I, we're going to be hosting a lot of trainings. We hope that everybody can join, and we're going to be focusing on things that are going to help drive your conversion rate. Go ahead.
Do you think 70% issue rate during AEP? Because I know we did this during lock-in, but I think if it's AEP, there's probably a higher issue.
Yeah. So again, I'm going to mess with the numbers here in a minute, but and then lead costs, we just baked in an average of $25 per lead as we go. And if you see, I changed the issue rate to 80%, and you had 6 more policies that ended up accreting in that moment. But you can see that your revenue shifted quite a bit.
This is
here.
cash flow.
This
So
is cash
this
flow.
column, the fixed output that you have is cash flow. So let me just say it the way I understand it. So I didn't even have to invest my full $15,000.
Yep.
I invested $12,500. I got 48 true policies, and I profited on the cash flow side almost $6,000.
That's correct. Yep.
So I invested $12,500, not even including future revenue, which we'll talk about with lifetime value. I made almost $6,000.
That's correct.
On those policies.
Yep.
Okay.
And so as we focus in here, and you're an independent agent and you're able to track these sales a lot more rigorously, you'd be looking at a 56% accreted rate from what you submitted to what actually stuck on your books. The other component here for you to keep in mind is how this lead spend is driven is the number of leads needed. It's solely tied to your conversion rate. If your conversion rate goes to 25%, and there may be days you're 50% conversion, your lead spend starts to drop. So we encourage you to play around with the documents here. Don't go wild. Don't change things too far. If you have questions about what industry standards are, we can talk through those. Just send us a message, send LeadStar a message of those questions. So in this instance, if you had an 80% issue rate and a 70% accretion rate, and you had a conversion rate of 25%, which there's a lot of folks that are in that range, if not higher, during AEP, you'd have 56 sales that would stick beyond the 90 days. You would need to purchase 400 leads, which would be $10,000. but your revenue that you would receive would be 21,280. In this scenario, you would profit $11,280. Now, again,
You don't
there-
get paid that until
January. Yep. And you're going to start seeing, you're going to get paid more than the 21,280 because remember, this accretion rate is it's a static number right now. So it's fixed as it goes. But this is just a rough estimate for you to track cash needed versus cash
So this is
expected
accounting
as
for
you go.
chargeback. So I might actually receive 30,000, but because we have that accretion
Already
rate,
baked in.
got
Yep.
it. So this is come April 1st.
Yep. What
if
we
I
would
follow
expect.
these metrics.
That's correct.
I'm going to have made a profit on the cash flow of over $11,000.
That's correct. Yep. And if you're selling during OEP, your cash flow would remain steady because it would be a continuing thing, and
I
you
just
would
want to focus
yep,
on the 100
for sure.
AP.
Yep. You'd be working through that. So the key metrics at the bottom are things like these are kind of like your health checkups where we're watching your blood pressure, we're watching what's going on along the way, and you've got to keep an eye on the CPA here at the bottom. The CPA has got to stay under your 380 component of revenue coming in. So if I change this to 15%, you see how that jumped up to $298. But if my accretion rate goes down to 60, you can see now I'm in the red, right? Now I've lost $1,400 in this scenario. So these metrics are really important to keep a constant eye on as you're navigating. You want to continue to sell, you want to do these things, but you've got to stay focused on this. Again, I learned these lessons the hard way as we went to stay in front of this. And we hear folks say it all the time. It's the leads, it's this, it's that. The reality is you've got to understand the game that this part is and play those things to your favor as you navigate through
Well,
that.
if I'm managing agents, because as you guys saw, you can leverage this platform to hire and recruit some LOA agents. I would measure these KPIs and I would have a tab for every single agent
Yep.
that I'm having.
Right.
And if an agent wants leads, I'm going to measure their conversion rate. I'm going to measure their issue rate to start. Obviously, over time, you can get their accretion rate. All right. So I did my 100 apps.
Yep.
This is my cash flow.
Yep.
Is there a lifetime value on this sheet yet?
Not a lifetime
Okay.
value on this one, but
So-
there will be one broken out as we go forward.
So here's where I was able to scale really fast. So what I did is I realized, okay, cool. I made the $11,000 in profit on these 100 policies, but I realized that I spent about $180. So there's my cost per acquisition.
Yep.
And so I gained 56 clients. So Dave, what would you say a Medicare Advantage plan customer is worth on average for you right now with an inbound transfer lead?
Say about 950.
950.
Yep.
Okay. So I got 56 true policies times 950. So my lifetime value of these policies are over $53,000. So I was able to invest $10,000 and generate a lifetime of over $53,000. So I'm going to make $43,000 off this platform by following this formula. So again, that's how you were able to grow and scale your
Yep.
business.
That's exactly right.
Okay.
And really focusing on that and being able to scale it around the principles there. Again, you got to keep these things in mind and these metrics. One of the cool things about the platform is you're able to track your CPAs as you're going, as you're dispositioning. Make sure you do a great job dispositioning all of your data and everything that's inside of there. But the system is really amazing on the things that it can do. So we're going to send this file out. We're going to send these documents out for you to use, try, pilot, do anything you can with them. Use AI, ask it every question possible. We're going to transition to talk about the sales process. And I'll tell you this, I learned from two of the best. I leverage Bob and Dave to learn and cut down my learning curve to as quick as possible by following the process that they've developed and honed in over time. So we're going to share a sales process that is slightly different than what we've seen before, but it is a carrier approved document that you can use. It will be built into the system as we go. So I'm going to pull this up here. Give me
And
one
as
sec.
he's pulling that up, and Dave and Jordan Fair, which is also part of our team, they built a bunch of training videos on a platform. If you're interested in that platform, it's going to just put your email into the Q&A or the chat, and we'll send you guys an email. It's a broken down video. We even have agencies that are under AmeriLife now that are hiring LOA agents, and they're just using these videos primarily as their sales training and SEP hunting. And they took a lot of time filming those. They're about a year old now, but it's, the process is still the same. But yeah, Dave, I don't know if you want to go over a high level of this process, but we just have a few minutes, and then if, we can have some follow-up.
Yeah, for sure.
conversations
And
as
I can
well.
be quick about it. I think the biggest thing to consider when you're going into this, and I think it's an awesome feature within the platform itself, is being able to leverage the context of where the lead is coming from, right? So the resources, the actual what they're reacting to. And so a big tip to take away, especially when you're working inbound leads, is understanding that the consumer that you're talking to is a reactionary consumer, right? So they saw something, some type of ad, some type of marketing that obviously made them react to whatever it is. Now, understanding that you have to have a process when approaching the individual. If you come in and you don't take the time to speak to whatever it was that they reacted to, you're going to lose that audience quickly, and you're not going to have a ton of success converting these leads.
So that's the biggest difference I've seen between selling face to face and selling over the phone. And I've now been a part of distribution. I work with tons of face to face agents. Face to face agents have a process to get in front of a customer,
For sure.
a potential customer. But then, if we're being honest, at least in my experience, they spend their time, energy, and effort getting in front of somebody. But then, because we're selling Medicare Advantage, which are zero premium plans that are awesome, then they're essentially getting doctors and meds and enrolling people. Over the phone, you've got to spend that energy on that sales process.
And I would say that the first 3 to, we'll call it 7 minutes of a call is by far the most important, right? Establishing who you are, what you're calling about, what they're calling in about, and what you can do for them. If you can win those 3 to 7 minutes, the amount of opportunities you get are going to be endless. But it's understanding that you have to have a process for the beginning of the call, because if you don't have that plan, if you're not speaking to what they reacted to, then you're going to lose interest quickly.
And this process is the one that you and your team use, and you guys do 50,000 policies, and you've got 100 LOAs that do this every single day.
100%. And
So I don't have to reinvent the wheel.
No, no
this
need
is
for it.
proven, because he tried to reinvent the wheel a couple times.
I did. No lie. I
And
tried many
I would tell
times.
him, stop talking and just do what we say, and it worked.
It worked.
100%. I mean, and again, it's proven for us. And I think they spoke to it earlier. The further away from myself, Bob, Brian, who sold, obviously it becomes more important to create process, because again,
And these are employees too, you
right,
guys.
you're gonna have individuals
Yeah.
that are gonna be selling that have never sold, or whatever the case may be. Having a process that can be repeated, because that's the biggest thing. Is it repeatable? Is it effective? I think that's the biggest thing, and that's what we have here. Is a process that's tried and true, and understanding the different portions of the call. And that's something I know that we said we can talk about and kind of take a deeper dive in later. But
There's a lot of psychology that is built into here. There's tiebacks and there's pieces in here as you go through your process and you hit a rebuttal. If you haven't spent the time to build that rapport and follow some structure, you sit there and you really don't have anything to say. And that's really what Dave and Bob taught me, is you got to have those hooks in there and you'll know when to play them. And if you watch the Medicare Monsters training, there are a lot of pieces in there that teach you how to do that, when to use them, and how to overcome a lot of those objections.
So yeah, drop your email or email Megan and the LeadStar team, and you're going to get an email from support at the Medicare Monsters with the full-blown training, sales training. I believe we're going to do another one of these where it's just, let's pull up this process. Let's go
break
over
it down, yeah.
how to overcome objections, how to win the first 3 minutes. We just, we had over 600 people on this webinar today, which is amazing, and really appreciate Bill and the EnrollHere team and LeadStar putting this together. But so we just want to keep it a high level today, highlight the platform. But yeah, we're happy to continue checking in with everybody and diving in deeper. But nothing's going to be better than that. Those videos, because you can rewatch them, you can practice them. So please feel free to drop your email to LeadStar or in the chat, and you'll just check your spam folder in the next 48 hours. You'll get an email from support at the Medicare Monsters. We're not selling you anything like that. This is a free provided sales training for AmeriLife. Medicare Monsters is just a group that we have, and that's what we did the brand for the training. But I know we're about at time. I don't know, Bill, if I'm supposed to swing it back to you if you want to go, if you want us to go through some of these. We got quite a few Q&As. I know
we have
time.
We are at time. We have a ton of unanswered questions. So what we are going to do is we are going to commit to writing these up into an FAQ so that people can have the answers that they need. I'm also going to invite anybody with an unanswered question to reach out to LeadStar at leadstarhub.com so that we can get you additional information. You'll be seeing a lot more communication from us since you've attended this seminar, rolling into our launch date, which is next Monday, August 4th. We're really looking forward to seeing each and every one of you try the system and be successful on the system. Thanks to our sales team next door who do an extraordinary job of helping people build their businesses successfully. Thank you very much to Megan, who has been the evangelist and architect of this program. But most of all, thank you all, our users. We appreciate your feedback. We appreciate your support. And we look forward to continuing to help you as the Medicare season begins here shortly. Thanks, everybody.